Hi, welcome to ArtStream. I'm Noah McLain Philpot, and I'm the puppetry arts teacher with the Lane Arts Council. Thanks for joining us. So today we're going to work on putting together our rod puppets, and we're going to have a lot of fun. These are going to turn out really cool. Before we get started though, let's do a little breathing exercise and expand our imaginations. Take a moment and close your eyes. Imagine that you are a tree. Your arms are your limbs reaching high into the sky. And feel the sun on your leaves. Draw that warmth down through your leaves, down through your limbs, down into your trunk, and put it down into your roots in the earth, and give that warmth down into the earth. Then imagine your feet are your roots down in the earth, and draw water up from underground and pull it up into your roots, up into your trunk, up into your limbs, and out your leaves to the sky. Feel that water and sunlight mixing in you, warming you up and filling you. Take a deep breath. Great. That's a wonderful exercise to center yourself if you're ever feeling stressed out, and also to expand your imagination, because your imagination is the most important tool you have. All right, before we get started today, let's talk about setting up our workspace. Here, I've got few things laid out. So what we're going to need today is our rod puppet pieces that we've made. On the first day of class, we worked on the heads. The second day, we worked on the arms. And today, we're going to make the bodies. You're going to need a little bit of tape to hold things together. Glue can be helpful. It's not necessary. You might need a marker to mark on the fabric. You're going to need a piece of fabric about 10 inches square. And you can ask an adult to help you with that. I've got an extra pair of scissors here today. These are fabric scissors, and it really helps to have good scissors to cut fabric with. A lot of times, school scissors just aren't sharp enough to cut through fabric. So ask an adult to help you get the right fabric and the right scissors for this part of the experiment. So what we're going to use today, I've got a whole bunch of different fabrics, but the fabric that really works best for this project is t-shirt fabric. I've got an old t-shirt that I just wore so many times, it's all worn out, and I cut a 10-inch square out of it. Okay, so I'm going to start by folding my 10-inch square into a triangle, just like that. Let me move these out of the way, and I'll lay this down. You want your triangle to be just like so. Then we're going to fold it in half again to make a smaller triangle, and we're going to mark this point right here, right in the middle, so that when we open it up, there's a little spot right in the exact middle of our fabric. The reason we do that is because the head stick needs to go right through the middle of the fabric. Okay, so I'm going to use a pencil or a pen to poke a hole in that fabric right there at that place. If you're using a material that isn't t-shirt material, you might need to cut it a little bit, but you really need to make sure that the hole is very, very small, because if the hole is too big, then it won't stick to the pencil. So I poked it right through there, and then I'm going to take the head stick and I'm going to push it through right there. Okay, and let's lay it down and spread it back out into a triangle. Okay, so check it out. We've got the dragon's body there. Isn't that cool? Actually, let's use a different one. I think I'm going to use, oh, that's fine. We'll just use this. Okay. The next step is we're going to fold this up so you can see the pencil underneath, or I've got a pen here, but you can see that underneath. We're going to take a piece of tape and we're going to tape the pencil to the fabric, just like that. Okay, the reason we do that is to keep the fabric up high on the neck of the puppet so it doesn't slip down. All right, so there we have our puppet's head. Next, we're going to lay the hands, or in this case, claws, out on top of the triangle like that. Now, there's a few different ways we can attach the hands to the puppet, and I'm going to show you several different methods to do that. The first method is the easiest method if you have the right kind of fabric. T-shirt fabric works great for this method. And what I do is I wrap it around like that, and then I tie a little half knot. Just like that. And pull it tight so that the knot holds the claw in place, like so. Really easy. Makes a nice little elbow for your puppet, and it works great. Now, thicker fabrics, if you're using something that is a little bit thicker than t-shirt material, you won't be able to tie a knot in it like this if it's really thick. So I'll show you a different method to use if your fabric isn't quite as thin as t-shirt material. There we go. We got our second knot. It goes over, around, and through. It's kind of like the first half of tying your shoelace. That helps you imagine what that knot is like. There we go. We'll slide that down a little bit more so that the knot is really close to the hand. And then let me show you how to hold these puppets. What I do is I hold two of the pencils or pens in one hand, and I hold one in the other. And that way I can turn the head by twisting. Here, let me lift this up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I twist the pencil, and that makes the head turn. And I can use this hand to wave, to point, or I can switch it to this side since he's looking that way. And then I can wave and point with that hand. That's pretty cool. We've got a cool little dragon puppet there. Very exciting. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to show you a different way to tie on the parts. So we'll put the dragon to the side, and let's see. Oh, I know. This time, I'm going to use a slightly different fabric. This is a shiny lining sort of fabric, and it ties okay knots, but it's not quite as good as the t-shirt material because it's not as stretchy. So we'll start once again by folding it into a triangle, and then folding that triangle in half into a smaller triangle and marking that very center spot so that we open it up and we have a dot right in the middle of our fabric. I'm going to take this pin and I'm going to poke a hole right there so that my pencil can go through it. This time, we're going to use Mario. Here we are. Fold that through there. Pull it all the way down so his head is resting right there on the top. Open it back up. I'm going to grab my tape. Tape that inside so it doesn't slip down like that. And there's little Mario. So this time, we're going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to cut across the end here, right in that space, to make two different parts. So we'll open it back up so you can see exactly what I did. I cut part way in with from the corner of my scissors, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to try to make these cuts the same length on both sides so that the pencils that hold the hands are an equal distance from the face. All right. So now each side has these two little triangles. I made some little Mario hands so you can jump and punch blocks. And I'm going to set them right there in that spot. Then I'm going to tie what they call a square knot, which is where you tie just like you're tying your shoes, but you do the first half twice. So I go right over left and pull that tight. And then I go left over right, like that, and pull that tight again. And then that little piece is tied in place so that the hand doesn't slip. I'm going to do it again over here, same way. Put the hand in, tie right over left, just like the first half of tying your shoelace. Pull it tight, left over right, pull it tight again, and now I have a little Mario. He's wearing his red shirt, but we all know that Mario also wears blue overalls over the top of his shirt. So the next step is going to be making some clothes and accessories to go on our puppets. We're going to add some props and costumes. So let's start with Mario here. He needs some blue overalls. Now, the best way to do that is going to be just to use a scrap of fabric. Let's go back to my t-shirt fabric. And we don't have to make a real set of overalls for Mario because he's not a real person, he's a puppet. So we just have to make something that's shaped kind of like Mario's overalls. So let's see. I'm going to fold it in half like that. And I'm going to cut right about here so that I get a nice little piece that's about the size that Mario's overalls should be to fit on Mario. There we go. And then, let's see, we'll have the straps here on both sides. Draw two little lines like that. And then it comes across here like that. And usually overalls have a little pocket right in the middle. I'm not going to make a pocket. I'm just going to draw one on like that. And often overalls also have a little button right here. So I'm going to draw on the button on both sides. There we go. Nice little set of overalls. So what we're going to do, now remember, this is folded over in half, so it's actually twice as big as it looks. I'm going to use my sharp scissors, or have an adult with sharp scissors help me with this part, and I'm just going to cut out that little section there, and I'm going to cut it off right here. There we go. To make a little set of overalls for Mario. I'm going to stick his head right through there. And there we go. Mario. Pretty cool. Now, this same design will work great if you're making a dress to go over the shirt. You might want to make it a little bit longer if it's a dress, or make it kind of triangular shaped if it's a dress. And once you get that done, you have a choice of how you want to attach it. If we just leave it loose like this, then it might slip off. And so we can lift it up, put some spots of glue underneath, and do it like that. That's a great way to attach your puppet to make the clothes attached to the shirt a little bit better. But I'm going to do it the quick way so we can pick it up and move it around right now. I'm just going to take a piece of tape like this, and I'm going to fold it over to make a tape loop inside out, so the sticky is on the outside. Then I'm going to stick the double-sided sticky tape to the back of Mario's outfit, and I'm going to put it exactly where I want it to be, right there. And now it should hold in place long enough for me to use him as a puppet. So I'm going to pick him up. Now we got Mario. He can ba-doing, ba-doing, punch, punch, just like Mario does. Pretty fun. That's our first completed puppet. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to set Mario to the side. There we go. And I'm going to go back to the first one I did as an example. Here is my monster. Roar. So this monster, he looks to me like he's I don't know, he looks a bit upset. So we're going to give him, let's give him a club. He's a crazy giant, and he's going to have a big club. So I'm going to need to grab another piece of paper, another piece of cardstock or recycled cardboard, and we're going to cut a shape out to be the club, the prop that we want to use. So we can add a little bit of cardboard to our materials required, but it's not necessary. This is just if you want to make a prop. Now, something like a club is really easy to make. It doesn't have to look a specific way, but I do like to draw things out before I start to cut them. I'm just using this little scrap here, and I am going to give him a big club. It's round on one end like that. You know, that kind of looks like a carrot. Maybe he's grumpy because he's hungry. Then I'm going to cut that piece out. Like so. And I'm going to attach it to his hand. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can cut a little slit in the hand to make it work. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to cut on that thumb line. Just right there. It's still got the pencil attached to it, so that makes it a little tricky. You should probably take the time to take the pencil off, but I'm just going to be as careful as I can here. And the reason I'm doing that, cutting around the thumb, is so I can put it in his hand like this, and it really looks like he's holding it. So the thumb is on the outside and the hand is behind it. Now, the best way to attach paper to paper is, of course, a tiny bit of glue. So let's get my glue ready here. Shake it a couple times, get the glue down to the tip. I'm going to put a spot of glue right there on his hand and then glue that in place. That's great. I think that is a carrot. He's hungry. Very cool. So you can make any kind of props that you want. You could make your puppet a cell phone, or you could make your puppet a pet. So let's do a pet next. That's a great idea. Once again, we'll grab a piece of scrap. And we're going to draw a little pet. Let's see. This, I think, is going to be for the dragon. What kind of pet should a dragon have? A dragon could have a pet unicorn. Let's do a tiny little baby unicorn. So I'm just going to put 2 legs on this unicorn because it's a 2-dimensional figure. Even though a real unicorn would have 4 legs. Give it little hooves, a little body, and a little head. We'll give it a horn and some ears and a long tail. As you can see, I am much better at drawing dragons than I am at drawing unicorns, but that's okay. These drawings don't have to be perfect. They just have to be fun. Oh, I almost used my fabric scissors on my cardboard. That's a big no-no. We're not going to do that. We're going to use our paper scissors on our cardboard. The reason why we never use fabric scissors on paper or cardboard is because it makes them get dull. And once they get dull, they won't cut fabric anymore. Fabric has to be cut with very, very sharp scissors. So it's very important to remember never to cut fabric or never to cut paper with your fabric scissors, or especially with the fabric scissors that belong to an adult, because you know what? That will ruin them, and then they won't be good for fabric anymore. So let's use our school scissors for cutting the paper in order to make our little unicorn pet. We're going to cut right on those lines, just like we always do. It's really fun to think of what your puppet likes and then to make things for them that they would like. So if your puppet likes to play sports, you might make it a ball or a bat. Or if your puppet likes animals, you might make it a little pet that can hang out with it. Now, there's a lot of different ways we can do this. We could just glue it right to his shirt there so he's always snuggling it. We could put it up here in the dragon's hand so he's holding on to it. Look at that. That's, whoop, he dropped it. Let's tape it onto the hand. We'll flip it over. We'll put it right there and get a tiny little bit of tape, just enough to hold it in place. Now, most of the time with accessories, if I can, I prefer to tape it into the hand, not necessarily to glue it. There we go. Look at that he loves his little unicorn friend. Mwah! Very cool. I prefer to tape my accessories on because if you glue them, then you can't change them out very easily. Whereas tape, especially masking tape like this, is really easy to take the pieces on and off. So that's great. Today, we finished our puppets. We made bodies for them, added some accessories and costumes, and we had a great time. So we're done for today. Let's take a moment to think about what we've done. We've created these amazing puppets. They're so cool. You've really done a great job. And now we need to think a little bit about who our puppet is, what they like to do, what their voices are going to sound like. And we need to think about how they move. Is your puppet slow, and does it move really slow and talk really slow? Or is your puppet very excitable? Does it get really and have a high-pitched voice that's full of fun? It's up to you. So think a little bit about all of those things, what your puppet sounds like, how they act, what they like. And in our next class, we're going to work with puppeteering, how to use these puppets to make them seem like they come alive during a puppet show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Think about what your favorite thing is you've done so far and how you can do more of it, how many more puppets you can make, and how you can bring friends or family members or the people near you into your puppet show so that you can play together. Thanks for joining us. I hope you come back for our next session where we're going to puppeteer and create a puppet show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tune into ArtStream for a lot more great artists and cool projects, and I'll see you next time. Bye.